May 6th, 2025. A staple falls. A tool of the skies. Banned. However, while you can take the card out of the format, you can't take the card out of the character. Let's talk about the man who doesn't need equipment to fly.
Yo everyone, I'm Jordan Lemons, and welcome back to Coping with Cardboard, your home for Universe's deck techs and post-ban list coping. Today we're going to be putting the spotlight on Jean Kirstein 1, a 6-hand size 33 health character who comes from the first attack on Titan set. Jean's going to have two abilities on his character card. The first is an enhance that reads, spend 1 momentum, you may change the zone of this attack. It gets +3 or -3 speed. Does that sound familiar to you? That may be because it's the exact same effect as the recently banned vertical maneuvering equipment. He then also has a response that's going to tie all this together, which reads, once per turn, when you clear 1 or more cards from your card pool during the combat phase, add 1 of them to your momentum. What this means is Jean not only has the VME enhance that got the card banned on phase, but he also has a responsibility that's going to allow him to fuel his momentum and actually use the ability pretty regularly. So with all this being said, while Jean may not be flashy, he is flexible, fast, and is a great momentum outlet in a format where momentum is almost free in most cases. That, my friends, is going to be a recipe for consistency. So now that you know what we're working with, let's look how we went ahead and build around him. Before we start breaking the deck down by card type, I want to go ahead and highlight 3 key cards that really help bring Jean's kit together. These are going to be cards that not only really play around his strengths, but help amplify his unique playstyle and really give you a nice little burst in the game that you play. First up is I Am Here, a 3-dip action that's basically built for Jean. We're mostly going to be using this card for its first form ability, which reads, add the top 3 cards of your deck to your card pool. Reveal 1 at random and discard the rest. If it's an attack, try to play it with +3 speed. If not, build it face up or face down. Why does this matter, you ask? Because when those non-revealed cards get discarded from the card pool, they're actually considered to be cleared from the card pool, which allows Jean response to trigger, letting you scoop 1 straight into your momentum. And since the discard pile is a public zone, whenever Jean grabs the card, cards like Deception Dagger and Black Abyss actually get grabbed face up, which is a pretty nice bonus when it comes to those kinds of cards. Next up, despite its name, we have no second doubts, it's Reconsider. A 2 difficulty foundation that reads, response, after you play this card, clear it from your card pool and draw a card. If it's your turn, discard 1. This is another clean way to trigger Jean's momentum gain, and the best part, we get to do it on a rival's turn too, and it's actually better to do it on a rival's turn. You block, clear it with response, draw a card, and suddenly Jean's sitting on an extra momentum for future use. And last but certainly not least, we have Survey Corps, Hope Apparatus, a new 2-diff 6-check foundation from the AOT3 set with a tenacious Survey Corps response reading. After you block an attack, ready this card. This is a huge gain for Jean, since our deck changes zones and controls speed so well, we're almost able to block every single attack. The only thing we don't always have is foundations to commit. Being able to re-ready on every single block is going to allow us to do almost the inverse of an opponent's string, which is, instead of playing out a long string of attacks, we're just going to be able to actually play a long string of blocks and just essentially waste our rival's turn. These 3 cards don't just work for the deck, they work with the deck. They enable his momentum engine, reinforce his control game, and let him weather pressure while staying resource rich. Now let's take a look at how the rest of the deck fills out around him. Now let's talk about the attack lineup. Jean isn't trying to overwhelm you with a massive string early on. He's about smart momentum usage, flexible zone pressure, and clean, calculated plays. These 3 attacks are some of the real standouts when it comes to the list. First, we have High Velocity Slice, a 5-diff 4 high for 5 with Stun 1, Breaker 1, and 2 Blitz abilities. The first one reads, if this is the only attack in your card pool, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. That's free momentum without the need for a clear, something Jean just loves to have. The other is going to be a Deadlock Blitz that reads, this attack gets +1 to its stun rating for each card in your momentum. There are turns when you can stun out an entire stage with how much momentum this deck is able to generate over the long games. So stun 7, stun 8 is a very realistic option in this deck, depending on how long your game may go. Next up is Timely Counterattack, a new 3-diff attack from AOT3 that's just absurdly efficient. It's a 2 low for 3 with Breaker 3, yes, Breaker 3, and 2 static effects that read, if you have fewer foundations than your rival, this attack gets +1 damage and +1 speed, and if you have less health than your rival, this attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. On defense, this card can efficiently shut down an opponent's aggressive turns. Breaker 3 is no joke, but even on offense, it becomes a sneaky finisher, especially when you're behind and your rival thinks they're safe. And finally, Falling Debris, our go-to finisher. It's a 5-diff 4 high for 6 with Breaker 1 and 2 Blitz abilities. The first one is the real star of the show reading. This attack gets plus X speed and plus X damage. X equals your momentum. That means this thing can hit double-digit speed and damage very easily. With Jean generating momentum through responses and other cards, this attack can go from respectable to scary in a heartbeat. And if our rival hits Deadlock, Falling Debris has a second blitz that reads Deadlock Blitz at the top 2 cards of your deck to your momentum. This just further increases the stats we have for this, while also giving us more momentum to use on future ability. Backing those up, we've got tools like Deception Dagger and Black Abyss that we've already mentioned. Attacks that have strong face-up momentum effects that pair well with Jean's response when cleared. And then we also have cards like Alchemical Satchel Toss for annoying blocking decisions on our rivals, and Rapid Speed Slash for further momentum generation or card draw, depending on what we need in that specific moment. When it comes to actions, we're going to be running a decent-sized 7-card package. However, every card in this package matters, with each playing a unique and impactful role. We've already talked a fair bit about I Am Here, which we're going to be running a max number of 4 copies of. It's going to be one of our best first forms in the game that generates us some momentum while turning into a random attack or foundation from our deck. Sometimes when things get scary, we just need to run away. A 5-diff action we're running 2 copies of that's sole purpose in our deck is Defense. Its response reads, lose X health. Before the damage step of your rival's unblocked attack, it deals no damage. Add the top card of your rival's discard pile to the card pool. X equals the attack's printed damage. This card can completely shut down massive hits at the very last second, all while forcing a card into the card pool. Finally, we have our lone copy of Surprising Strength, a 3-diff action that has a single enhance that reads, this attack gains Powerful 2 or EX2. Add this card to your momentum. This, in conjunction with cards like Rapid Speed Slash and Alchemical Satchel Toss, who already have an EX or Powerful enhance, can turn these little poke attacks into ones that can become true game enders by using all momentum on both EX and Powerful abilities. 7 actions, 3 rolls. Setup, shutdown, and finisher. Nothing too flashy, just clean, efficient plays that Jean can rely on in any stage of the game. And finally, let's take a look at the backbone of the deck, our foundation lineup, plus our 1 new backup we've added from AOT3. We've already covered Reconsider and Survey Core Hope Apparatus, 2 of our strongest foundations, but there's going to be a few more standouts that are worth spotlighting. First up is our deck's only backup, the Omegoth, a 2-diff from AOT3. His response is simple but incredibly effective. Response, after you spend 1 or more momentum, this attack gets plus 2 or minus 2 damage. What this means is every time we use Jean's Enhance, we're not only going to be changing the speed, but we're also now going to be changing damage. It really shines when it helps give your offensive push that little bit of damage you really needed to close out a game. Next up is Thunder Spear Demo. A 3-diff foundation does exactly what Jean wants to see mid-turn. Form Commit, clear 1 card from your card pool. That's it. Simple, direct, and so valuable. When we don't have I Am Here or another easy way to clear, this just gives us another way to force a card out of our card pool to trigger Jean's response. Lastly, we'll highlight Broken Psyche, a 2-diff foundation with 2 effects. The enhance being the real star of the show reads, flip, discard 1 momentum, change this attack's damage to 2. Sometimes we just don't want to block, and this card's going to let us take the hit on our terms, saving cards in our hands and weathering potentially big swings for just the cost of 1 momentum. It also has a response that reads, response, after you're taking damage from an unblocked attack, add a 6 check from your discard to hand, playable while committed. While we may not use this effect often as it can only pick up Survey Core Hope Apparatus, it is still a nice option to have in case we do need a plus 2 mid block randomly. The rest of the foundation lineup backs this core up with speed hate, block value, card draw, and momentum management. Everything Jean needs to stay consistent and flexible. You're not going to win off foundations alone, but in this deck, they are the fuel that keeps everything going. And that's the list. Jean Kirstein might have flown under the radar for a while, but with VME now banned, his value just went way up. Jean, whose many joked was just VME with face, is now left doing what he's always done, while the rest of the format must adjust. If you've been sleeping on him, now's the time to give him a shot. He's consistent, resource-rich, and finally getting the spotlight he deserves. If you like the deck, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and check out more Coping with Cardboard videos for more Universes content. Got your own cool deck ideas for the deck? Drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear other people are cooking and what's entering the new format.